can I do? What should I do to make this work, to try to make some money? Looking at oil, you know, if you look at oil like on a 15-minute chart, all right, let's look at a
Exeter on
30-minute chart.
Trump's 4 to 5 weeks time frame says it
Well,
could move.
looking at a 15-minute chart at about 9 at 8, a little bit after 8 in the evening last night, there's the open. All right, so that was the open. It gapped way up, big gap up. And then it had a big sell-off, which is very normal. After you get a huge gap like that, it sold off, looks like about half. And then now it's pushing back, which is common type of behavior. So I was actually watching at 6 p.m. I actually took a micro gold trade at the open, and I took two trades. I went long and then realized, no, it can't
Alongside
keep
growth
going
in weekly
up.
journal, ECB should be prepared to move
And
rates
I made
quickly to cover direction.
$12
Austria's
on the
central bank will
micro trade. And then I
say.
took a short and it made almost a couple of hundred. Very, very risky. That's like the highest risk kind of trading because you just don't know when it's a news event that's causing the bursting or the dropping. You don't know when it's going to end, when it's going to stop, when it's going to continue. I think at that time gold was up not nearly as much as it is now.
Treasury
I
yields
mean,
steady
gold
climb,
went
lifting
up
10-year
much
Treasury yields
higher
above 4%.
from where I got in. So looking at a gold chart, say 15 minute, looks a lot like oil, doesn't it? Looks like that oil chart, that 15-minute oil chart.
The Israeli military says it's begun striking Hezbollah targets throughout Lebanon.
Big gap up. And it's been pushing. It had the
ECB
same
spokesman said
sell-off.
a fresh increase in uncertainty since the start of the year makes it possible
So
that the key
the only
target
thing
could
you
be
can
lowered again.
say right now is the markets are not out of control in terms of the volatility. But I'm going to put the YM on. I'm going to put our normal open on and see what the markets look like. The YM, I'm going to do what I normally do most mornings. Um, I certainly accept the fact that we are in a much higher risk situation because potential volatility. The YM down 500 points, and it's right now in the middle of levels. So first things first, I'll put a reverse continue, and I'll trade carefully, small amounts this morning just to see how the markets respond. So one target, 40 tick. I'll do what we always do. We'll do 35 tick target, 35 tick stop. That's our reverse continue on the YM. Reverse continue on the YM. And I'll label it YM reverse continue. All right. And, the question is, do you want to trade in your funded account? That's really your question. Should you trade in your funded account? So a one contract magnet on the YM, I'm going to trade it in that funded account. If the markets are too volatile, we'll know it, and then I won't. I'll change what I'm doing. All right. So, like I said, first things first, just a YM reverse continuation setup. And then I'll put on the YM magnet, just like
And
we
after
do
these
every
comments
morning.
from US Secretary of War,
I'll
who makes
label
complete
it
sense.
YM magnet. Same account. And high of day, low of day. Just trading one position. We'll use our 50 tick stop. And the target is the high of day, low of day. 3 ticks before it gets there. That's the trade. Simple YM magnet. When you turn it on, let me get rid of my oil because I didn't really do that yet. So we have YM reverse continue. When you turn on your magnet, you get your orders. My gut feeling, obviously, is I think we're going to get a move down. I just can't imagine these markets going up, but you never know. These markets are a complete surprise all the time. They just are. They're a complete surprise all the time. So if I enter, I want to enter under 200 and enter above 700 on the long side. So I've got the magnet. Right now it's not on automatic. I did swear off oil. I just think oil is going to be extremely volatile this morning, so I thought maybe I would just see what happens on our regular trade. See if it fills. See what happens at the open. Maybe a range will be created right away, and then 40 seconds after the open, it'll pull us in for a winning trade. I'll trade it in a prop account that is not very consequential. The only thing I would do different on the MYM ROS, I'd use a bigger stop on the magnet. Let me check what I put on the stop. What'd we do? What I put on the stop?
UK two-year gilt yields on course for the biggest daily rise since May
50.
2025,
So
up
maybe I'd
seven
use a
basis points on the day and hitting a
65.
spot 636%.
Maybe I'd use a 65 on the YM, on the MYM. I have a real problem with one of these dogs. I don't know what's wrong with her. She's acting really, really weird. And I may have to stand up and let her out at any moment. She's just acting so bizarre. I'll never take this dog again. Um, all right, I'm going to put a reverse continue on the oil chart. Just one contract. A 20 tick
According to
target.
the
A
Financial
20
Times,
tick
UK
stop.
Chancellor Reeves too slow increase to youth minimum
Reverse
wage.
continue. Label it CL. Reverse continue. And right now I'm on Sim. Let me figure out what account I want to trade it on. Like I said, just not in a funded account because this oil trade has been quite a mess. Um, I think I'll trade it in. All right, working on
The US
account
Embassy in
number
Beirut urges citizens to
32.
depart Lebanon now.
right click the strategy, and we'll put the strategy on the account number 32. And then I'll put our original range trade, which I know I didn't really want to trade this trade, but these are such unusual markets. I want to see what happens. Now, did
Currently at Eastern
Apex
Time, ET
allow,
with
the
regards
rules
to
don't
women's
mean a
oil
whole
breakout
heck of a
moment,
lot,
former
Calvin,
President
if they
Nargis
don't let you trade
enters de
any
facto during the
instruments. So
stenography.
right now, Apex, you can't trade any instruments. No gold, no commodities with Apex. So I don't understand what the point of using Apex is anymore. What good is it? Unless you love if you love trading the indexes, I guess it's fine. So I'm going to load my range template. So Apex is the most, probably has been one of the most restrictive companies. Looking for oil new open range. We'll date it, right click it, and date it today. And load it. And I would not, this is just experimentation. I just kind
US
of
as
want
the
to see
rand
what this
continues to
market does.
maliciously launch ballistic
Thought,
missiles.
the other thought was try a oil breakout at the open, but
Traders now see about an 8% chance
if you
of a rate cut this
think
September
about it,
from about 40%
the
chance on Friday.
breakout, the gap was last night. You just don't
Saturday
know what's going to
ET.
happen this morning. If there's going to be a big burst at 9, we don't know. Anyway, the range start time is 8:59. One tick above the range, one tick below. Targets of 8 and 20 with a stop of 15. If it hits the first target, my stop goes to break even -4. And this is really just curiosity to see if we get normal behavior out of the oil market this morning. Right now, the market, like I said, it's not out of control in terms of the volatility. But the thing you don't know is what's the behavior going to be like? We don't know. I mean, there might be a big burst. If there's like a huge burst at the open that creates an oversized range, then I might just not trade it. Because remember, it's up to you what you want to do. You don't have to you don't have to trade unless you want to. Trade when you feel things are in your favor. That's the key. Good morning, Sander. So, I mean, right now the markets are pretty quiet. It's pretty amazing. But they're not open officially. Not officially, open yet. My thinking is that the oil open will create a bigger range than usual. That's what I would think. But again, like I said, we don't know. You just think, what could happen in this market today? What could we expect? It's in the middle of a lot of ranges, but it's pushing. Obviously, it's pushed to the high side. Oil has pushed to the high side. Had a big, big gap up. There's certainly room to go back up again at the open. Um,
In 5 minutes' time,
You know,
expect
we live
French
in very,
President
very
President
scary
Lagarde speaking
times.
at a Women's Day event alongside Bundesbank President Nagel and Greek Central Bank Governor Stanaris.
So at the moment, we're waiting for the oil market open. We have our YM pretty normal magnet set up. Nothing's turned on yet. The YM is very quiet at the moment. It gapped down, obviously. And we do have our webinar today at noon. And isn't it ironic that these are some of the quietest markets we've seen? Look how quiet everything is. Certainly the market we're looking at right now. Calvin, you said you've been trading since last night. What'd you trade? So YM, I do think the main markets, it's hard to, look, you never know what these markets are going to do. It's hard to imagine positive things being positive.
UK rate futures suggest investors see a less than 50-50 chance
What
of
I
a Bank
was
of England rate cut
thinking
in
of
March.
doing was taking a 10 tick bracket breakout 1 second before the oil open to see if there would be a burst at the open. That's been one of the most inconsistent oil trades over the past recent time. It's the reason that we didn't create a breakout at the open. It's the reason we created a range trade because when we did our testing, that 9 o'clock breakout didn't work reliably. Today is one of those kind of days where you could get a breakout that works because of news. You know, the thing we know about prop account trading is you can do all sorts of experimentation because you don't lose your real cash. You can still keep trading even if it goes bad.
Surely expecting comments from ECB's Lagarde, Nagel, and Sloanus.
So here's the range. The range starts to calculate a minute before the open.
Markets
I think
base
it's going to be a
Eurozone
pretty big
inflation
range.
expectations set for the largest one-day jump in a year. The Eurozone 5-year forward inflation swap rises 3.4 basis points to 2.114% as global energy prices surge, and the US effective federal funds rate unchanged at 3.64%.
I'm not sure I would really want to get filled short. That's what you're thinking. You're certainly thinking, I don't want to get filled short, right? Because oil's up over $5. How many times have you seen, okay, there's the open. my charts are spread pretty far. Maybe
Functions
15
panel, Kazuki
ticks was
says,
not the
hey,
biggest
nothing of what
move,
I'm talking about today is related to
considering
economic
everything
policy
that's going on,
deliberations.
right? It's a bigger range than we normally see. So I'm just going to let it play out just to see what the market does.
And banker
Order
Kazuki
submitted.
makes no mention of Iran conflict in her planned remarks. Kazuki says, when a supply shock raises costs sharply but has little negative impact on the economy, we are more likely to tighten monetary policy. Kazuki says the supply side of developments have become more important in the fight against inflation, and sometimes monetary policy needs to be tightened even when the economy is weak. Kazuki says when a supply shock is expected to have large or persistent effects of inflation, some degree
So
of
I'm just
monetary relief will be
watching and
needed.
thinking to
And when a shock
myself,
has less of an
you
impact on
know,
inflation but weighs
what's the
heavily on the
point?
economy,
It's going
we
to
are less
fill.
likely to
Looks like it's
tighten
going to
policy
fill
Order
and might
short.
submitted.
actually ease it.
So if we get a pullback, then
Order
it'll hit.
filled.
So it hits the first target, move my stop to safety, bring the target further down. I mean, this is what I thought
Order
might
filled.
happen, that we might get
Pointing
a
information
little
at
bit
market
of
sources
extra
like Reuters,
volatility on the
a
open.
deepening cloud
So, hit the first target. I'm still going to move my stop to safety. All right. Still moving my stop to safety. So, first target plus a tick. And that's my oil trade. I'd be done. I'm done with oil. I just wanted to see what it did. I wasn't dying to be filled short, to be honest.
Apple
Not dying
introduces
to be
this
filled
iPhone
short.
17e that will start at
I don't know what to
$599.
do with this animal. In all seriousness, I don't know what to do with her. She won't stop, and I just don't know. She won't stop. I let her out, she barks. I let her in, she sits and whines non-stop. Non-stop. I can't take it. She's really annoying. Really annoying. And I've watched her many, many times, and she's never behaved like this. And she's very old and getting older, obviously. No, that's really nice out. No, she's really bad with thunder and all that kind of stuff. So look, watching oil, maybe I got out too soon. Right now, it's right where my exit was. All right, that was right by my exit. So we've got half an hour until the MNQ open. So I'm gonna let her out. So if you hear a little barking and stuff. So look, it looks like it's pulling back. Let me turn off the range trade.
Apple launches the new iPad Air featuring an M4 processor.
The stop was in the middle of the range because the range is pretty big today. So, but right now it would have there was an opportunity for about 12 ticks. I'm going to leave it the way it is. Let me let her out and see if it calms her down. Last night, I had to give her so much, um, like a Xanax, because she just wouldn't stop. She just wouldn't stop. So we'll let them stay out for a minute or two. All right, so that would be it for oil. All right. How much is oil going to pull back? You know, it might pull back enough to give you the two targets, but right now it didn't give you both targets because we were 8 and 20. Like I said, I wasn't dying to be short. I don't think short on oil is the best play, but it's very difficult when you have a $5 gap to truly trade normally because it's not a normal gap. You know what I mean? Everything about oil's move is abnormal today. So sometimes the rules don't all apply. That's what you have to deal with. So I'm going to put the chart, going to get rid of. So look, we made 9 ticks testing to see what the oil market would be like. The YM is really, it's not moving that much yet. And I'm going to put the MNQ on. And we'll put our reverse continuation. It's the first thing I'll put on. Couple of contracts like we always do. And we'll do a 50 tick target and a 75 tick stop. See, I don't like to leave the dog outside barking because she bothers the neighbors. She won't shut up either. If I let her out, she won't shut up. I hear her now, and it's not fair to the neighbors. So we've got our MNQ reverse continue, and that's in our morning funded account. So MNQ reverse continue. And then we put our MNQ breakout. See, I think there's the possibility of a nice move at the open, a nice breakout. I'm not going to try and guess what direction. I'm just not. So I'll load the template. And I'm looking for MNQ new open. That's the name of the file we use. There it is. We're going to date it today by right-clicking it. And load it. And we've got 929.59 on the trigger, a 35 bracket. We've got targets of 30 and 100. If it hits my first target, I go to break even, and my stop is 150 at the moment. All right. These guys are barking like crazy. Let me let them in. It's so annoying. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. In the house. Go. Get out of here. Get. All right, we're triggering. I still got another one out there. 929.59. 35 bracket. Targets of 30 and 100 with a stop of 150. Break even if it hits the first target. So what I'm thinking might happen this morning, we get a nice pop on the open, one way or the other. Not trying to predict which way.
ECB's Lagarde says the ECB are carefully monitoring the strange global situation.
And I'll put time on 0 for a moment just to look at the size of the brackets. And we'll put the software on sim while we check the bracket size like we do every morning.
Order canceled.
Now, hopefully, we don't have data problems this morning because of the situation. You know, it could be much higher volume this morning. I think let's get rid of our highlight the breakout. We'll get rid of our show vertical line on entry. Get rid of that. Look at the bracket one more time.
Order submitted. Order canceled.
The NQ is starting to move, starting to get volatile, not volatile, but starting to move. And our charts are spread wider now also. It might not be a bad idea to use a 40 on the bracket. I think I will. Put our time back to 9:29. Target 130, target to 100, stop 150, break even if it hits the target. Trading it in our normal funded account. Make sure your chart trader's on the account you're trading. Now I may put a magnet also to watch on the MNQ. Just watch the market for a minute here. We got plenty of time. I'll show you something goofy, not goofy, I'll show you something funny. Boy, that Guthrie case is weird, isn't it? And I guess Apple couldn't have picked a worse day to have an event announcing new products. Just when there's a new war, Apple's announcing new products. Not the best day to announce new products, is it? All right. So, yeah, the Guthrie's been quiet. So, here's Spark. She just sits there and whines. Just sits and whines. She won't stop. All right, watching the NQ, MNQ. Roz, you hope who doesn't require drones? All right, I'm gonna put a magnet on the MNQ just to watch signals, possibly after the open. So I'm adding an extra strategy. I have down at the bottom aftershock reversal, high of day, low of day signals are on because I'm not trading it. I'm not trading it. I'm just watching signals. And if I get a signal, I can use the reverse continuation to enter with. But I still will put it on the account. And I will label it MNQ magnet. MNQ magnet. Now I'm thinking, right now I've got the YM, everything on the same account. I may move the YM to the other funded account. So YM magnet, YM reverse continue, and I'm going to put that on my other funded account, just changing the account. If you make a change inside the software, you always have to press the apply button. When you make a change, the apply button will become active. It'll show up again. If you don't make a change, it won't be active. And then apply it and OK it. And then when you turn, let me let this little guy in. When I turn the magnet back on, I have to put my orders. Remember we said above 700 on the long and below 200 on the short. The short, plenty far away from the magnet. Now remember, I'm just watching signals on the MMQ. And then we do have ISM Manufacturing. Just has a blue eye. She's not blind or anything like that. So the YM magnet is generating VWAP signals. You can turn that off because I don't trade those signals at this time of the day. I like to watch them. They don't bother me. Now we need our time. So essentially, we're waiting for the open. We're just relaxing, waiting for the open. If I got a YM fill, I would take it. I'd let it fill. So I'd turn the auto on by pressing the entry button. I would let the YM fill if it gets to the high or the low. That's a big move. If it gets there, it usually gets there with some volatility that it will go through the levels. I do think the MNQ is going to open down. Is this a day where you worry about data feed, integrity? For me, yes. This is a day I worry. Sometimes what you can do is put an order very, very far away
Order submitted.
and move it and see if it's moving or if it freezes, right? Right now the data is moving, so if you had an order on the chart, you'd be able to manage it.
Order canceled.
I completely forgot about the RTY this morning. Let's set up our RTY. Let's see what the RTY looks like this morning.
At 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, we have the Canadian Manufacturing PMI prior 50 spot 4.
So I'll put a RTY reverse continue on the chart. And it's interesting, RTY right in the middle of magnets also. RTY might be a good candidate for morning magnets. It might be very good. We haven't tested it. Just putting a reverse continue, trading carefully this morning. 35 ticks, target 35 stop. That's discretionary. And I think I'm going to trade RTY in that. Not funded this morning on RTY. I've got two funded trades going on right now. And we're going to label it RTY, reverse continue. So that's in 32. And then we have our RTY market open. We have a range trade on that. So I'm going to go to the template, load it. And we've got 6 ticks starting the range at 929.50. 6 ticks above the range, 6 ticks below the range. Show the range graphics on chart. 12 tick target, 25 tick stop, and 2 positions, ending the range at 9:30 and 10 seconds. The question is, right now it looks a bit choppy, right? Are we going to get an open in one direction? That's the question. Will the open move more in one direction today because of news, because it's Monday, right? It's possible because it's Monday, because it's the open. That we could get that kind of a move. So right now, the YM, I'm tempted to put the RTY on a funded account just because it's the open. The opens have been pretty good. And I'm thinking, just thinking about, well, you know what? I got 2 accounts to manage this morning. I'm going to leave things where they are. So we got RTY on a slowly growing new prop, normal MNQ open, and YM open. 5 minutes to go. So there's
In 5
that
minutes' time, we have the Canadian manufacturing PMI
5-minute
higher, 50.4.
volatility that we see on the MQ. Five minutes before the open. Excuse me. I guess I'm thinking the MNQ is going to just open down. It's very negative. The YM is pretty negative also. So I mean, obviously, the thinking is market's going to open down on a war. Certainly, it's not good news. I don't think. But you never know what the markets are going to do when there's a big gap. The gap's not as big as I thought it would be on the YM. I thought it might have been more negative than it is.
Spot silver falls over 5%.
Buy when bombs fly.
France's President Macron says France to boost its arsenal of nuclear warheads. And Macron further saying will no longer release figures on nuclear arsenal.
All right, so we only have a couple of minutes to the open. MNQ chopping quite a bit.
One minute remaining for the market on open imbalance and the Canadian manufacturing PMI.
All right, we're getting ready.
10 seconds.
Order submitted.
There's the orders.
Order
51,
submitted.
51. Market on open imbalance. S&P 500 sell
I
side
did not want to
450
get
million.
filled
Nasdaq
long.
100
No
buy
way did
side
I want to get.
35
I was
Order
million.
thinking
submitted.
Euro
of
30 sell
turning
side
it off short.
125 million. Mag 7 buy side 30 million.
I did not want to get filled long. I was going to turn it off,
Order
and I'm
filled.
sorry I didn't. Very sorry I didn't turn that off. Very sorry. Now, it's chopping
Order
around.
submitted.
All right, interesting. Along on
Order
the
filled.
the RTY worked long, and the YM is just chopping around. YM just chopping around. RTY, the open, I'm turning off. That worked this morning. MNQ, YM kind of far from the magnets. It's definitely far from the magnets. Now the
And US Airlines
RTY,
shares fall
it's
as
hard to
US
believe.
Iran
It looks like
conflict
it wants
disrupts
to
travel.
test the high.
American Airlines down 6.8%.
Just watching the RTY, thinking, what would have happened if you would have traded it with magnets? It would be coming towards the high. Now, interestingly, on the MNQ, the first move was
Shares
down,
of
and
US oil
now
companies jump as oil
it's
price
changing
surge around
direction.
9% following Iran conflict. ExxonMobil up 4.1%, Chevron gains
I'm not
4.2%,
that interested in scalping this morning. These are the hardest
and
days
Baker
to
Hughes
scalp.
gains 1.1%.
When it's news-based gaps, very hard to scalp, in my opinion. Because normally I would have been interested
We have posted a
possibly in
Canadian
the
S&P
RTY
Manufacturing
to the
PMI report for
upside.
February on the feed for those interested.
I'm still tempted. It looks like it's going to test that high. But now I feel like I'm chasing it. It's gone. It's already there, almost there. I traded two, Nitin. Nitin, I traded two. Now, let me think. Did I have money in that account when I started? No, I did. I don't think I had. I have to look at the video. I have to look at the video. Like I said, I'm not that interested in scalping. We have ISM manufacturing to think about.
Coherent shares up 8% after Nvidia to invest $2 billion in the company.
Obviously, the temptation is to take a long scalp, but it's so concerning because of the market, the world news. It's hard to have any idea if you're going to get a follow through. So rather than revenge trade, I'd rather not revenge trade, if you know what I'm saying. My temptation is to revenge trade, and I'm not going to. So we have to get ready for ISM. RTY is trying to test that high. It's going to do it. I think
Shares of
it's going to
US
do it.
LNG
It's
companies
going to do it
climb
right now.
as natural gas prices jump following Middle East conflict. And the Russell 2000 index briefly hits over 3-week low, last down 1%.
And the MNQ is going to test the high also.
And France's
It sure
President
looks
Macron
like it.
says Germany agreed to nuclear deterrence cooperation talks.
Just going to watch for one more minute, then we'll start getting ready for ISM.
At 9:45 a.m. Eastern Time, we have the US S&P Manufacturing
No
PMI
YM trade this
forecast
morning. It just didn't
51.4,
go far
NASDAQ
enough in either
51.2,
direction.
with a range of 52 to 51.2.
There's the RTY, that son of a gun. It just got there. Just got there. All right, let's go. I'm going to go start talking about ISM now. So the market open, the MNQ got me, unfortunately. MNQ wants to test the high also. What do you think? It's not a big enough profit to make it worth it at this point. That was a nice VWAP trade, right? It broke the VWAP. It never changed direction. So there was no, we don't give a signal unless we have a directional change. All right, everyone. Let's go and do what we got to do. So I'm going to start from scratch for ISM. So I'm looking at gold. And ISM, just being straight with everyone, ISM has been one of the most inconsistent reports in a very long time. Some of these major reports um, have been very inconsistent. GDP, ISM, the ones that used to be the most stable reports are now our most inconsistent reports. It's hard to believe, but they are. They are. Now, always what you realize is when the markets are down like this, you get retail traders uh, go short and then get killed when the price goes up like it's doing now. They'll go short at the open or wait for the open a couple of minutes. I am disappointed the market open didn't work on the MNQ. Um, our recent testing on the MNQ has not been good. 150 bracket was needed last month. Last month, excuse me, gold moved 275 ticks. It was an insane move. It was really, really off the wall. All right. I'm going to just reset my platform by rebooting it.
The Slovak PM Fico says wants to meet European Commission von der Leyen to discuss restarting the Druzhba pipeline flows as soon as possible.
So I do think that RTY is, ISM
And
is
Francis Macron says
extreme
Germany
risk.
will have key role. Poland, Netherlands, Belgium, Denmark will join French efforts too.
It's extreme risk. And we have very, 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 very big tiers to explain that. I'm going to set up a separate video for it. So bear with me half a second to set it up. Hang on one sec. All right. Welcome everyone to Pro Trader and Plus ISM Manufacturing. My name is Lee Goldstein, the Trading Director at 10 Minute Trades. Please remember all the trades we discuss are for educational purposes. All right, so looking at gold, and I'm looking at the ES. I'll put the NQ on a chart over on the right just to watch it. If I can fit my news in also. One of the problems with ISM is it does have a lot of news elements in the event.
Come
Now we
to
have a
EPC Trump to
very,
mention
very,
Iran at 11
very
a.m. event at
large
the White
trap,
House.
which may not be safe, but it's so big. The trap trade is
Palantir's
so
shares rise
big.
4.7% amid rally in defense stocks following Iran conflict.
I definitely am not trading a gold breakout. The gold trap trade is tiers of 150 and 200. Now, what's interesting is that's my boss's setup. Normally, he doesn't send a news setup, and that's what he sent because of news. And I'm actually going to try his setup. I would have done a little bit smaller on the tiers, like 110 and 150. That's what I would have considered. So, one of the worst things that could happen, the worst thing that can happen on a trap trade is you get stopped out. That's the worst. And we talk about this all the time. The second worst, you don't get filled, and that's not even terrible. So gold is risky. Remember that this has such a big stop. It's got a 70 stop. You could lose an account on this one trade. If it goes bad, you can lose an account. So keep that in mind. You might want to trade micros on it. All right. You might want to trade micros on it. There is a 9:45 piece of news.
1 minute remaining for the US S&P Manufacturing PMI final.
Manufacturing PMI. Right here. Let's just see what the results are. Let me show you what I mean. Let me move. Let's look at price. I'll look at the news off to the side. There's a 9:45 report. Final manufacturing, it's called.
10 seconds.
We used to look to try and trade it, and we just didn't have any success.
51.6, 51.6, higher than forecast of
Not
51.4.
much of a response from gold at all from it. I think our tiers are way too big. Way too big. That's what I think. I think our tiers are too big on this report. But we'll see what happens. So here's the setup. See if we can fit it in underneath. All right, so here's everything that makes up the report. Now on gold, we've got 150 and 200 on the tiers on the trap trade. So we're going to trigger at 959.55. The stop is 70. 150 on tier 1, 200 on tier 2. And let me just see where I want to trade it. Okay, see you later, Roz. So I'll trade it in
The S&P
account number
500 and NASDAQ
37.
100 pairs declined to 0.5%. We have posted the US S&P Manufacturing PMI February final report on the feed for those interested.
So one more time, I will put a reverse continue also on gold. One contract, reverse continue, 40 tick target, 40 tick stop. Label it GC reverse continue. All right, so first things first, we have our gold set up. The trap, one more time, 950, 955 on the trigger. Position 1 is a 1, position 2 is a 1. Triggering 70 tick stop, triggering 950, 955. 150 and 200 on the tiers, very large tiers because of potential volatility. Now you can set the time to 0 to see where those tiers will wind up, will line up, all right? And you could do it in sim, which isn't a bad idea. What if you get frozen orders when you're checking your trade?
Order submitted. Order canceled.
So it's a little bit tight.
Order submitted.
All right. So that's our trap. Well below and above
Order
highs and
canceled.
lows. So we'll go back and put it back on 59,
At 10 a.m. Eastern Time,
55.
we have the US ISM manufacturing data. PMI forecast 52, prior 52.6, with a range of 53.2 to
And then we
49.8.
have an
Prices paid
ES
forecast 60, prior 59.
trap
The profit
trade
index
with very
forecast
big tiers
48.3,
also.
prior 48.1, and new orders index
And
forecast
again, you can use
53.3,
MES if you
prior
wanted to
57.1.
on that, 25 and 45 on the tiers. Now I just want to make sure you want to be able to see cancel the outer tier on your chart. So you want to make sure it's wide enough to see cancel. Okay, that's cancel the outer tier in case you get a fill, right? And you need to move your stop to safety. You only get filled on one order. You want to move your stop to safety. You need to be able to cancel that extra tier, that order that didn't get filled. Okay. Now, obviously, gold could just burst like crazy on the news. It's possible. So the ES trap, I would do MES. I'm not interested in blowing up two accounts if things go really crazy. So an MES trap trade. Triggering at 9:59:55. The stop is 45. Tier 1 is 25. Tier 2 is 45. Might not get a
Hi there, it
fill.
seems we are having trouble with the futures data, and apologies for the inconvenience. The devs are on it. That's regards to tick strike. So just a reminder that we are having troubles with tick strike with the futures data. Apologies for the inconvenience. The devs are on it.
25 and 45 on the tiers. I'm just thinking where I want to trade it, what account.
According to the Iranian news site report, a loud explosions heard from an area of nuclear facility and airbase in central city of Isfahan.
Nothing special, just a regular prop account. I'll be really watching the gold trade because that's much higher risk. Just want to see if the ES trap works. We haven't had an ES trap very long on this event. Now I would set the time to 0 for a minute. Charts on sim to see where it's triggering. Again, doing it on sim because what if the orders aren't working? But it seems like data's okay this morning.
Order canceled. Order submitted.
All right, so you can see everything. So you can manage it.
Order canceled.
Apply it, okay it. All right, so just,
Order submitted.
whoops, what did I forget to do?
Order canceled.
Forgot to put the time back to normal. So what's the worry with a trap trade is that you get a burst in one direction. That's always the worry with a trap
In
trade, that
5
we
minutes'
just
time, we have
don't
US
get
ISM
chopped.
manufacturing data. PMI forecast 52,
It
prior
has been a report
52.6, in a
that
range of
does nothing but
53.2
chop
to
around.
49.8. Prices paid forecast 60, prior
Now, of
59.
course, there's
Employment index
extra
forecast
extraordinary
48.3,
risk
prior 48.1.
with gold,
New orders index
right?
forecast 53.3, prior
Extraordinary risk.
57.1.
Why? Because gold's up over $100 on the day. It's sold off quite a bit since we got here. And then at the open, it really powered up quite a bit. Almost looks like 40%, 45%. All right, so now we're just waiting. We have an MES trap. We have a gold trap. Two minutes. Watching the NQ over here. Just watching it. Now you could always put a reverse continue on any chart, right? We always say, why not put a reverse continue on every chart? So I'll put a reverse continue on the MNQ, 100 tick target, 50 tick stop, right? Got nothing to lose. It's NQ, actually.
One minute remaining. I'll be leading with US ISM manufacturing PMI.
Actually, I don't want that in 37, so I probably won't trade it. I don't really have enough time to fool with it. I don't think I'll trade it. Just gonna watch it. Just watching the MNQ. All right, so gold, our trap orders are gonna show up 5 seconds before the news. Same thing with the ES. We have very big tiers on gold.
10 seconds.
Order submitted.
52 spot 4, 52 spot 4. Manufacturing prices paid 70 spot 5, 70 spot 5, higher than forecast
So
at
the
60.
news is
Employment
very
index 48 spot 8,
bullish.
48 spot
Hard
8,
to
higher than
believe.
forecast at 48 spot
Very
3.
bullish would
New
push
orders
gold
55 spot
down.
8, 55 spot 8,
It
higher
would
than
push
forecast at
gold
53
down.
spot 3.
I think the tiers are too big. I think the tiers are too big. Normally I would give it a minute to fill. Hey, maybe not. Look at this.
Order
I think
canceled.
if it fills, if gold should fill, I think it will then reverse back up. See, we almost got there. I think my original idea was better. My
Dollar
original
yen
idea
rises
was better.
1%.
Smaller tiers. I think our tiers are too big. Like I said, I'd give it a minute. And then the ES filled long. It could be tough to make money on a long trade. It's good news though. I'm moving the orders. Just right now, there's only one order filled. Gold, it just didn't get there, folks. Gold just didn't get there. It just didn't get there. Now, if it starts moving up, the gold trade is over. We didn't
Order
make it.
canceled.
So the ES, it
We
made a
approach the
one
US
target
ISM
winner.
Manufacturing PMI
I think
February
the
reports
tier
on the screen for
size
those interested.
probably made sense on the ES to have pretty big tiers. And gold, we were just a little too big on the tier. Little too big on the tiers. Now, if you let it fill, you're not really trading the news anymore. We're trading random gold movement.
US Treasury yields add to gains
So I
after
would
ISM
cancel the
Manufacturing
gold
PMI.
trade.
Yield on 10-year Treasury
A
note
lot
nudged
of
up 70
information
spot
which
6
will be
basis points
helpful
at 4 spot
going
03
forward
in the Fed.
Order
is I
canceled.
just think our tiers need to be big but not monstrous. Big but not monstrous. I think that's what this tells us. All right? That's what it tells us. Not the end of the world. The ES had a small winner on the trap. And gold, no fill. And you really don't wait more than 2 minutes is a long time to wait for a trap trade. All the news was very good, and it just couldn't push gold down enough, possibly because the bullishness in gold was too much today because of world news. All right. What happened to anybody who traded breakouts? Anybody trade differently? Did you trade breakouts? What happened to you?
US main stock indexes cut losses. The S&P 500 last down 0.4%. And the yen dropped 1% to a session low per US dollar after the ISM data.
TJ, what did you trade? A trap?
US 5 to 10-year yields rise 10 basis points on the day after
Okay.
ISM.
So you got a better MGC tends to move a little bit more than GC. All right, everyone. It is what it is. MNQ, NQ. Nitin, what size bracket did you use? 60. Okay. I was thinking in my head 50, but I mean, the NQ had a big move down. It had a big move down, then it changed direction. All right, everybody. Um, not as much volatility on this report, which is not a surprise with everything that's going on right now. Just not a surprise. Very difficult to figure out what the best setup is in these kind of markets, but I think trap trades don't need to be quite as big. All right, everyone, if you need the link, I want to thank everyone on YouTube for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow. So we're going to end this